Welcome to More Patients, More Impact, More Income, the podcast for real holistic medical practitioners who want to grow their high-impact, high-income practice without selling out. And now, here's your host, Chris Axelrad.
Welcome back to More Patients, More Impact, More Income. You're listening to the second part of the 3 core pillars of creating go-to practitioner status in your market. Let's jump back in. Here's Chris with part 2 of this 3-part series.
A clear mission. You've got to have a clear mission. What is a clear mission? It's like you know what you're trying to accomplish. You know what your goal is. You know what you're doing here, right? And the consequences of not having that clear mission, really simple. You have no direction. You have no real direction. It's like one day you decide, I'm going to go to LA. Okay, cool. And you start driving down I-10 from Houston. It's from I-10, right? And actually I-10 is literally like, I could walk to I-10 from my house right now. So I'm going to walk out to I-10 and I'm going to walk down I-10 and go to LA. And then all of a sudden I'm like, you know what? Let me go to Chicago instead. And then you're going to Chicago. And you're like, let me go to LA. And then, and by the time you've like changed your mind 3 or 4 times, you really haven't gone anywhere. You haven't gone anywhere. Okay, so you got to have a clear mission. And when you don't have that clear mission, you don't have depth to your message. Your message is very surface. And this is the problem you see with so many acupuncture clinics out here. You know, you can go drive by your neighborhood strip mall acupuncture clinic and they've got the window and it says, quit smoking, weight loss, stress, anxiety, infertility, pain, blah, 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 right? I mean, it's like they just want to do everything. And there's no depth to their message at all. Everything becomes about acupuncture, the tool. And let me tell you something. I've said this a million times and I will say it again. Nobody wants acupuncture. People who want acupuncture are not people who are suffering, okay? People want to exit their pain. And if acupuncture happens to be a way out of that, then they want acupuncture, all right? That's the whole thing with the fertility thing and the IVF thing. They wouldn't do acupuncture if they didn't know that it was a way out. So it's really not about the acupuncture. It's about them and their problem. So if you have no depth to your message where you're really talking to people and really digging into their problem, you're never going to be the go-to. You're never going to have that go-to status. And then finally, again, without a clear mission, it is literally impossible to position yourself as a leader on anything. Okay? You cannot be a leader just saying, I'm an acupuncturist and I help everybody. Now, I'm not saying that you don't help everybody. You can help whoever you want. But to your market, to get that go-to positioning, you're going to have to decide very specific messages. You're going to have to create very specific messages with a leadership position around very specific things. When you aren't clear on where you're going and you're missing, you cannot lead people anywhere either. If you're that person who's saying, I'm going to LA, oh wait, you know what? No, I'm going to go to Atlanta instead. You're just going to be leading people in circles. And people know when they're going in circles. Now, there's dumb people out there, as we know, who will follow leaders who are not authentic and who do not have their best interests at heart. That's not what I'm talking about here. Okay? I'm talking about real leadership where you're really truly helping people. Okay? So, what causes us to be unclear on our mission? Very, very simple. Number 1 is a fear of commitment. I see this all the time. And honestly, it's the most pervasive and destructive force in the acupuncture profession. Everybody's getting themselves worked up and running around with their hair on fire about dry needling. Let me tell you what that is. Dry needling is a symptom of the fact that acupuncturists are not willing to specialize. And they're not willing to commit and say, this is what we do. That they're staying on the surface. And then what happens is you get these PTs and these other medical professionals who realize, hey, there's a real need in the market for this type of thing. And you know what? Nobody else is fucking providing it. If we stood up and we actually committed and said, this is what we do, and we went hard on our own message, we wouldn't have this fucking problem, number one. Number two, we wouldn't even care. And look, the thing is, the people who are building their practice around a message that is resonant with their own vision and their own purpose do not care about dry needling, okay? Because it's not competition for us. It's just not. Because you can't compete. Like I said, when you are speaking your truth and it's you and it's your message, nobody can compete with it. Nobody can be that. Nobody can be you. Okay? So when you have this clear mission, then you have an audience and you can speak to that audience on a deep level. And also, you don't get off track as easily. Like when you run into obstacles and you fail, which is inevitable, you're going to fail on things. Things won't work out all the time. Like I just had a patient yesterday, a brand new patient. She's 18 years old. I pulled up her forms. The first thing I said was, oh, you're my daughter's age. And then I went to the next page and it was like, she's here for morning sickness, meaning she's pregnant. And her mother referred her to me because her mother's been a patient of mine. And the daughter, the one who came to me, she took it as me saying, you're too young to be pregnant, when I didn't even know she was pregnant when I said it. And I was just commenting on, wow, you're my daughter's age. Kind of like, you know, I don't see many people your age here. And so I got an email about that today. I emailed the mom back and I was like, you know what? It was a totally unintentional thing, because her mom emailed me that it really hurt her daughter's feelings. And the email was amazing, because in the email she told me, she said basically like, I sent my daughter to you because I know how amazing you are and how caring you are. And she really needs that right now. And she told me what you said, and I just wanted to let you know how it made her feel. And I really hope that you won't say that again or something, which I appreciated, because it's like she didn't say, and I'm not sending her back. She said, when she comes to see you on Monday, please don't say that again. You know, my response to her was, you know, I really appreciate you bringing this up. And I just want you to know that that was not my intention. And I respect your daughter. I respect your daughter very much. And I'm actually very impressed with how mature she is. And so I want you to tell her that I said that, because the only part for me saying you're my daughter's age was just the fact that I hardly ever see people her age in the clinic at all. So that's all good. But I think if I didn't have a clarity on my message and my mission and what I'm here to do, things like that can throw you off. Things like that can pull you off, off topic. So the other thing is, when you know where you're going, it makes it easy for you to know when you're losing focus and to get yourself back on track. And again, when you have that focus and you have that consistency, you get the opportunity to become that go-to practitioner. Finally, when you have a clear mission about what you're here to do and who you're here to help, guess what? Everything you do centers around that. And people know that when they come into your clinic. They know that your process and your language and the environment is built around them. It's so important, so critical. And what that does is then it builds trust. So people start to trust you before they've ever met you. They will start to trust you when they read your Facebook post, when they see your ad, when they are on your landing page, when they're watching a testimonial about somebody who's just like them, who's been through the same thing that they've been through. Actually, when they've watched 10 testimonials about people just like them who've been through the same thing that they're going through and who have come out on the other side okay because you helped them, that just builds insane power and trust. That's what you need. When people hear your name and they know that the person saying your name trusts you, or when they see your video or they see your ad, and just within a few minutes, they're like, wow, this person's telling the truth. Being on a mission is what gives you that kind of authority and power.
If you're ready to fill your practice and keep it full without the stress and overwhelm, then get instant access to your free autopilot patient attraction playbook now at www.highimpactpracticesystems.com/autopilot.
How do you develop it? Well, first of all, you got to understand what's your story. Okay, you got to get clear on your narrative about your life. And not just your future, but your past. Like, one of the biggest things that has helped me to become even more inspired about what I do is that I've made peace with my past. I've learned to accept the painful things about my past. I've forgiven the people who were part of that pain. And I've learned to see where those experiences made me who I am and really guided me to where I am. When you integrate all of that, and it makes you whole. And when you become more whole, again, you become more present and you become more congruent with who you are meant to be. When you start to gather together all of these parts of yourself that you have not been at peace with. And also get clear on your future story. What is your vision for yourself in your practice? Who are the people that you want to be helping? How do you want to be helping them? Yeah, we all say acupuncture, we all say herbs and all that, but it's more specific than that. Like, what is it that's going to be special about the way you're going to do it? What is it that's going to be unique about what you're going to bring to the table? How is it that when they come into your office that they're going to experience something they can't experience anywhere else? The more you're clear on that, the more you will become a go-to practitioner. The other thing is you need to be clear on just the whole story of your life, not just, your clinic. That's a part of it, but really be clear on your life. What's the meaning of your life? How do you show up in your life? The more that your whole life, and I talk about this thing called unification a lot. The more you're showing up in your life and in your practice with the same energy and the same spirit, the more you will transmit that into everything you do, and the more people will be attracted to you. I always marvel at the people that I see online, and there's a lot of bullshit going on in the world, and I'm going to talk about this in a second too, because this is really important, and this is where I differ with a lot of people. And I'm not saying I'm always perfect at this. Sometimes I get sucked into it too for a minute. There's a lot of bullshit going on in the world. There's a lot of pain going on in the world, and when we get sucked into that story and we allow ourselves to attach to that story, then we start to lose our power as healers. Because our job as healers is to show up and be that light for everybody. Everybody. And some of my colleagues that I see that I'm friends with on Facebook and you can go into the Acupuncturist on Facebook group too and see a lot of this. There's just a lot of anger and a lot of, just vicious anger that people engage in their personal life. How do you expect to really be successful in a healing practice when that's what you're feeding in your life? And that's how you're living outside of your clinic. That is going to leak into your clinic somehow or another. It's going to seep into your process as a healer some way or another. People pick up on that kind of energy, whether or not you're speaking it. And what you're putting out there is going, hey, it's what we call karma. The momentum that you're generating is going to take you in a certain direction, whether you like it or not. So be really careful the stories that you tell and the narrative that you choose to repeat to yourself. How do you fix this? You fix it by investing in your own story and telling your own story. And don't let anybody else hijack your narrative about your life. That is the most important thing that you can do. Because everybody who comes into our clinic, in some way or another, they're out of alignment with themselves. And who they are is this beautiful, perfect, amazing being of light. And their story has become misaligned with that. They're telling themselves some kind of painful story that does not reflect their true power. So we have to be the ones that are telling ourselves and staying locked in on the story of who we are. And then we're going to be able to help them get their story straight.
This is the podcastfactory.com.